Okay, so going back to your website now, Google really want, as I've said a few times now, for you to love the site. They want people to love the site, but they also want you to love the site, meaning that you dip in and out of it as often as possible and make changes and add new content. Now, the best way to add new content is to write blogs. So if we go back into the dashboard of the site, you have posts. So if we go to posts and we press add new, because we haven't got any on here yet because it's a brand new site, you'll see that we've got the new editor, which I hate. Actually, I'm going to leave this in. The latest editor for WordPress I'm not that keen on, as you just established. So there's actually one called Classic Editor. And what that means is that with any of the posts and any of the plugins, you can go back to how it looked before, which is wonderful because, you know, it was much easier before. So let's go back to add new. Look how much better this looks. So add new post title. As I was saying earlier about page names, even though this is a post, it's still in Google land a page name. So it's very important that you use content names that people might search. So what I say to my clients is, for whatever their business is, picture somebody on the train coming home from work. They want to get a new fence for their garden. What are they going to type in? How to build a new fence for my garden, maybe. Even though they might be a gardening company that I'm saying this to, they're going to read the post and they're going to think, oh my goodness, this is much more work than I thought it was. I'm going to get these guys to do it because they know what they're talking about. So on our test site, let's say how to optimize my site for search engines. So we'll just pop that in because I think that might be something that people put into Google. Now you'll notice that this is a brand new site, we're on there for the first time. The other thing that happens with WordPress is that you need to press this toggle button to show all these little hidden delights here. It's closed by default. So let's go through the posts on the WordPress. So this is the title, as I said, so choose something keywordy. And by keywordy, I just mean a phrase that people will put into Google. Then this is where the content all goes. So you put all of your content in here. The categories and tags, these are what I was talking about in the record shop. So you would file them under something that people might put into Google. So we'll put web design, search engines, anything that you think people will put into Google. So this is the part of the record shop that is the genre. This is the rock and roll, the jazz, the classical, the easy listening. Then underneath this you have tags. This is the more specific area. So this is the bit in the record shop that would be the artist. So this is your Brian Wilson, your Neil Young, your Aha. This shows you my taste in music off the bat. Then you've got a featured image. So the featured image is the picture that is shared on social media, and it's also the picture that means that when you have this set up on your website, for instance, it's the image that would go with it. I'll show you what that means. So if we go to my website, for example, and we scroll down a bit, these are my featured images. So there's some of my past builds, and also these are my featured images as well. So basically it's just the picture that goes with the site, with the post. Now you'll notice that it all goes a bit quiet underneath. So there's a few things that you can add to the site to make it easier for you. If you press screen options, you can add an excerpt. So if we go down a bit further, it now says it's got an excerpt. So say on my post, for instance, this would be the excerpt. Now I haven't put anything in, I've literally just let it pick up the first few lines of the post, but really it would be better if I bothered to put a nice little excerpt in to make it more readable. Now what we need to do next though is put in a search engine optimization plugin. Now there's lots of them out there, but the one that I believe most people use and the one that I find the best is called SEO Yoast. It's brilliant. There's a free version which is perfectly suitable, but you can also get the professional version, which gives you obviously a little bit more control over your keywords and things like that, but I find that the free one is just as good for my clients. So I'll just let that install, and then we press activate. And then if we go back to our post, you'll see we've now got this added extra here. And what we need to do I'm just going to show you the basics of this because there's lots of videos within the actual plugin itself that show you how it works. But the main thing to do is to get as many green lights as possible. So what you do is you have a focus key phrase. So the focus key phrase is the phrase that you've used at the top of the page. So this would be your focus key phrase. And then you'll notice now when you scroll down that you've got some green dots. So the name of the game is to get as many green dots as possible. So it tells you certain things to do. So for instance, it says you haven't got a meta description. So a meta description is basically the description that comes up under all the pages and all the posts in Google. So this is my meta description: affordable web design, bada bada boom, call me now, free, da da da. So that comes up on my home page. Now here's the thing, lots of people think that you're going to go to the home page every time you Google something, but obviously you're not. You're going to go to whatever the most popular post is, or you're going to go to the post or the page pertaining to your search terms. So each page and post has its own particular meta description. So by installing this plugin on our new little site, every single page that we create and every single post or portfolio, product, everything has this at the bottom of the page. So this is very important that you go through the site and you optimize for each page. So you can either put the same, so the meta description, let's go to that. This is called a snippet in SEO Yoast. We haven't even put anything in yet, but it's saying that it likes it. So basically you put in what you've called the post. You'll notice on mine I've put my phone number. Now the reason I put my phone number is because lots of people will Google things, they're in a rush, they're on a train, they just want to get a solution. They might not even click my website, they might just think, right, she's put her phone number, she's got good description, she's got good reviews, I'm going to call her. So by giving them the opportunity to call you right from the beginning, you're going to get more people. So you might want to put your phone number in there depending on what you're talking about, and you just put a little overview of what the post is about. And this will be how it looks in Google. So it's how to optimize your site, the link to the site, I haven't categorized it yet, and this is the blurb that comes up. So if we go over here to our categories and we tick search engine and web design, and then when we were to refresh the page, it would then, let's save it and have a look, it will then change on here. There we go. So this is a very important plugin. If we go into the content itself, you'll see that there's lots of other things that you can add into here, and also very helpfully you've got video tutorials within this plugin that tell you exactly how to use it. So it's very, very important that you do this. So let's take it from the top. You do a new post, you call it something that you think people would put into Google. You would then use that phrase twice within the content. So not like I've just done it, but you'd put some blurb in, and in that content you'd use that twice. You also have your categories and your tags that you use. I would say no more than 5 or 6 per post because you don't want to be greedy. Google does penalise people who do too many. And the tags, you put whatever tags you want. You can either put a comma or you can put them in individually. And the last thing to do on the post when you've done all these things is add a featured image. We haven't got an image, so I'll just take a screenshot. A couple of things to remember with a featured image is to make sure it's not too big. You don't want to be loading huge images to your site because in time it will really slow the site down. And you also want to make sure that you give it a name. And in the instance of the post, it needs to be called the same name as you've called the post, because that is something that the search engine optimization tool looks at. So I've named it and I've made it a lot smaller, and then in WordPress you simply drag it in, set featured image. Writing the blog, as we've discussed on our travels around London, it's very important to add links. Google really like links. Now these can be either external links, so we could link to my website for instance, and you would just, to do a link, obviously it would be in the course of the conversational text. You put a link in, and then if you highlight the link button, you just link it to the website. Now the other thing is that Google also like internal links, so you could also link to content within the site itself. So the search engine optimization plugin also takes that into consideration with its scoring, as does Google. So again, it's very important that you do that as well. So just make sure that you're keeping an eye on the links. So there's lots of other things that you can do, and as I say, there's lots of videos within the plugin itself that will cover it in a lot more detail than I will at this juncture. So let's take it from the top. You're calling it something keywordy in the actual page name itself. You're repeating that phrase within the content. You've added 5 or 6 categories, 5 or 6 tags. You've added a featured image that isn't too big and is named the same as the post. And you have optimized, you've gone through the suggestions within the plugin and you've done everything that they suggest to get the best out of the post. So that's how you optimize a blog post and pages and products and anything on the site.